All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Please do not forget to rate and review us on iTunes. You can talk about how I'm braggadocious and everything's going on, but I have really good guests. And one of those really good guests that I have is Derek Vandygriff, and he's here to talk about Ole Miss's signing class for next year. You might not know about it. I don't know a whole lot about it, so we're all going to learn together. Hey, Derek, how you doing, bud?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Ole Miss won the national championship. I've completely turned the page to football, as you can see by my show. And my credential came in today for SEC Media Days, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah. That'll be a good time. Are you covering it kind of like on Zoom or something, or are you actually going to go up there?
It's going to be remote. Yes, but I will be there and to see it. But it should be a little bit of fun. Anyway, before let's get started. Tell me about this signing class. We have a lot of people to replace. I mean, Tim Elko, Kevin Graham, and Justin Bench. I mean, those just don't grow on trees. Who's coming in that might be a replacement for those guys?
Yeah, well, this staff has kind of built this program on recruiting, right? Bianco and Quinn and Laff. That's one thing they've always done. Is always brought in top tier talent, and it's no different this year. They've got the number 4 rated recruiting class coming in this year. We've got 18 commits out of high school. It's a really pitching heavy class, but they do have several bats coming in. The top one, Roman Anthony, he's an outfielder out of Florida, which is going to be a theme as I start going through these guys. You're going to hear Florida. They absolutely hammer Florida in recruiting. And he's a guy you're going to have to watch out for when the draft starts up. I think it's this Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. He's the number 4 outfielder in the country, number 14 overall player. He's a really good outfielder, a big guy, 6'3", 195, and huge power potential. I mean, he can really stroke the ball. One scout, the way he described it, just sounds different coming off his bat, right? If you watch enough baseball, the sound when the bat hits the barrel, if that thing's going to be gone or not, and apparently his is just different. But he's kind of quick, too. He runs a 6'5", 260-yard dash. That's pretty quick in baseball terms. But like we said, it's kind of a coin flip whether or not he makes it to Oxford or not because of the MLB draft coming up. He's a really big prospect. A lot of MLB teams like him. Not on the radar of some of them, but if you can kind of start sneaking into the second part of the second round, something like that, if he falls that far, then there's a chance he's able to make it onto campus, and he would obviously plug in and play right away if his bat plays the way that the scouts think they will.
Yeah, one cool thing about where I live is people might not know this but spring training happens to MLB teams all the time. And as a result, their stadiums, their low A and high A teams are usually down here as well. So after the draft, like if Tim Elko gets drafted by the Blue Jays, I mean, he's probably going to end up in Dunedin, or something like that. So I can see those guys. The Tigers have their A club right in Lakeland. That's 15 minutes away. But there's minor league teams all over the place. Now, how many prospects from this draft class is there legit danger of going pro straight out of high school?
There's 2 for sure. There's Roman Anthony, the guy we just got done talking about, but the absolute stud of the class is Jackson Ferris. He's a left-handed pitcher out of IMG down there in Florida. He is the number 2 left-handed pitcher in the country, number 9 overall player, regardless of position. He's 6'4", 190 pounds, and bear with me and just see if this sounds familiar. He's a lefty that throws in the mid-90s with a big power curveball. That's got Doug Nikhazy written all over it, doesn't it, the way he pitched for it there for a couple of years. But this kid, he's absolutely incredible. He's 94 to 96 with the fastball. He's got late movement on it. He went to all the perfect game showcases and all that, and just absolutely blew everybody away. It's apparently a very, very heavy fastball. People can't catch up to it. The MLB scouts even say even at 96, it plays even above that, which is kind of crazy to think about with that kind of velocity. And, he's only 18 years old. He's going to gain a little bit more velocity as it goes on. But But yeah, big fastball from the left side of the plate, high 3/4 over the top arm slide, and the thing is his mechanics. He's consistent with it. The tonal of the ball is the same every single time. As far as his release point and all that stuff. Like I said, late life, they say it's just a plus pitch, that fastball. But he mixed in a good curve and a changeup too, which is kind of key to keep people off balance when you're throwing that kind of velocity. It really is a long shot. He's the ultimate lottery ticket, but you would rather hold that ticket than somebody else. And if something happens, I kind of started looking through mock drafts and stuff, and he's anywhere from the late first round to those first round compensatory picks that teams get for free agents and stuff. Right. And he was kind of up in that early first round area before this. So, he's starting to slide a little bit. If he slides a little bit more, then, maybe we luck up and that lottery ticket ends up hitting for us. He would probably slide right in that weekend rotation if his stuff's as good as it's supposed to be. So he's really exciting. That's one guy that we really need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, there's a chance if he makes it to campus, all three of the weekend starters are lefties.
Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be bizarre.
Yeah, it would. But at the same time, with the kind of talent you're talking about, though, you just kind of make that work, though. That's you would love to have a righty mixed in there, but it's fine if it's not. It's not that big of a deal with guys that can throw the way they can. So yeah, you just kind of roll with the punches at that point, and you throw your best guys out there, see if they can get you some depth, and kind of use this year as kind of a template a little bit, and just kind of go about it and use that bullpen and work that pitch staff as best as you can. We got a bunch of arms coming in this class and coming back from last year's team, so that definitely should be a strength of our team next year.
Yeah, a little bit of a lesson was probably learned this year by people to not jump the gun and wait until it finishes. I mean, absolutely, yeah.
And then it's just kind of a testament. We talked about it here before, but not only recruiting, but the coaches, the way they work tirelessly with these pitchers. When we were struggling throwing the ball earlier in the year, me and you kept saying, year 22 for Mike Bianco, we've never really been bad. We've never sucked. But one thing we've always done, no matter if it was a really good year or one of his down years, we've always pitched. They pitch. They're such a long track record. And, that's why you get guys with this kind of talent, because they can show them that, and Mike can show them they can get them drafted and get them into the major leagues. And that's what it's all about for these kids anyway. So it's really a nice chip to have on your side when you're going out on the road recruiting these guys and trying to talk them into coming to campus. And, kind of like Jackson Ferris, just to go back to him for a second. If he ends up sliding a little bit and he doesn't get the number that he wants, he probably has faith that if he does come to Oxford for 2 or 3 years, that, the way Mike and those guys are able to develop these young arms, especially lefties. You look at Nikhazy and Pomeranz, that they can get drafted higher and that he can end up making a little bit more money. And with the NIL and everything going on right now, I'm sure baseball probably picked up a good bit of NIL money after this national championship. So maybe we'd be able to give him a little bit to get by for the next 2 or 3 years and get him back in the draft and make him a top 3, top 5 pick, whatever it may be at that time.
Yeah, and A-ball and things like that, you said he's a consistent tunneler, all of this stuff. That's kind of entry-level, straight out of high school that he would spend the next 3 years doing and learning anyway. Yeah. If he already does that, why not go to college, get the instruction, come out and go to AA, and you're kind of on schedule anyway? I mean, that's just my thought.
Yeah, and you see that kind of a lot with college pitchers coming out these days. A lot of them don't even go to single A anymore. If I'm not mistaken, Nikhazy went straight to AA after he was drafted and had a really good start the other night, by the way. I don't know if you saw that or not, but Doug Day has made its way to minor league baseball. He's still doing the same things down there for the Cleveland Guardians now. But yeah, that's a really good point you make, though. That's kind of the instructional league when you get into the low A and the single A, stuff like that. And then you move up to AA and AAA when you actually learn your mechanics and able to repeat them over and over and over and over again, because that's the key thing there. You've got to be able to keep those hitters off balance. The higher you go up, kind of like in JUCO to Division I, it's harder to fool these hitters. They're better. They can see it out of the hand. They can recognize a pitch and know if you're coming, right over the top with it. Well, that's his power curve. Or if he comes from the 3/4 just over or just to the side of the shoulder there, okay, that's the fastball coming in 96. I need to gear up and go ahead and rip this one here. But yeah, if you can sit there and throw from the same arm angle, same slot every single pitch, and make it hard to identify and have the speed change, the velocity change that he supposedly has, then yeah, it's definitely hard to hit.
All right, we've gone 10 minutes so far. Let's go. So let's move on to other players.
All right, yeah. There's the third highest ranked kid in this class is Jordan Vera, right-handed pitcher out of the great state of Florida, of course. He's the number 26 right-handed pitcher in the country, number 101 overall. Doesn't seem to have a lot of draft buzz about him, which kind of surprised me a little bit. I looked around several different sites, and one of them even ranked the top 600 prospects, and he wasn't even listed in it as far as the MLB draft goes. So that was kind of surprising. He has an upper 80s fastball, jumped up to 90 to 94 this past year. He had an upper 80s last year, I guess I should have said. But his velocity's already increased. He's a low to mid 90s fastball thrower, but kind of when you have a fastball in the 80s, one thing you do learn to do is throw those secondary pitches, right? Because you're not able to sit there and live off of it over and over again. Well, that's what he was able to do. He's got a really good changeup, a really good slider. Those pitches kind of got him through those years of high school, and then he got up his senior year, and the velocity finally come up with it. Now he's 90 to 94, those two really good pitches, and they say he's just a strike thrower. He just fills up the zone, kind of. When I was reading about him, it really reminded me of John Gaddis, the way he throws up all of his pitches for strikes over and over and over again. You're going to get a guy that's just going to fill up the zone, and it's one thing that really worked well for us. It kind of was the turnaround of our season this year is when our pitchers were able to start filling up the zone. And he's a pretty big kid too. He's 6'3", 205. He's only 18 years old, so you can only project him to fill out from there. So there's probably a little bit more velocity increase, stuff like that. So he's a really good prospect, and somebody that, like I said, doesn't look like he'll go in the draft. So we should see him on campus, and that's one guy I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for next year. Okay,
and also it appears we have a legacy, but not an Ole Miss legacy coming to Ole Miss's campus. Eddie Furness's kid, Will Furness, has signed with Ole Miss.
Yeah, and oddly enough, he's a real big kid too. 6'4", 212 coming out of high school.
Weird how that works.
Yeah, I know, right? Genes and everything. He's rated number 4 first baseman in the entire country, number 169 overall, left-handed batter. The scouts rave about his power potential. They say that as fast as he gets the bat through the zone, he's got really good bat speed and really good control with the bat when he does get it through the zone. So they really like his power potential, and if he controls the bat that well, then you can probably project a pretty decent average to come through with it. Kind of with those big left-handed swinging first basemen, that they're trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. One thing that kind of pops into your mind is what kind of discipline do they have, strike out to walk, all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing we'll just have to find out when he gets to campus, how he's able to adjust to the Division I pitchers and how he's able to hang in there and see if he can spit on a few pitches and rip away when they're in the zone, kind of like Kemp Alderman, that jump from freshman to sophomore like he did, So that'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, that was one name that popped off the page to me when I started looking down. I said, man, Wilbur Furness. And it's right at the bottom, son of Eddie Furness. I said, good Lord. I didn't know we had him at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, I think Eddie might have played with Mike, or Mike might have been an assistant at LSU at that time.
At that time.
Yeah. So yeah. There was a relationship down on the bayou. Real quick before we get out of here, give me one dark horse of this class that you might think of.
Well, I'll go back to another pitcher then. JT Quinn, he's the number 35 right-handed pitcher, number 119 overall, out of Florida again. He's mid-80s fastball, but his curveball is what everybody raves about. And it's kind of interesting because, we're usually a fastball slider kind of pitching staff. Our guys like to teach that slider and all, but they're bringing in guys, 2 or 3 guys that have really good curveballs. So I don't know if that's more of a philosophy shift or if it's something they're going to try to work in when they get them to campus, maybe teach them a slider to go along with it. But yeah, he's 6'3", 175 pounds, and the thing with the scouts with him is they really project him to fill out. They say he's got big, broad shoulders. They expect him to put on a good bit of weight and really fill out his frame. So, I mean, it's – and kind of like we talked about with Jackson Ferris, the delivery. You can't tell what's coming out of his hands. It's coming from the same slot, tunneling it every single pitch from the same spots. You don't know if he's throwing the fastball, the change, or the curve, anything like that. And had a really good senior year, really had a good showing at the Perfect Game Showcase. Stays low in the zone. That's one thing you really like to see coming into the SEC. You don't want to elevate those balls and let guys tee off on them. Supposedly really weak contact, gets a lot of ground balls. So that's nice to see. So that's one guy, if he ends up making it, he's the number 251 player according to one site in the draft. So, I mean, I guess there's a long shot he doesn't make it if somebody wants to reach up and overpay for him. But that's probably not going to happen. I expect him to make it to campus. That's another one I'll be watching out for.
All right. Get more on the SEC for making Locked On SEC your second listen every day. Coach Chris Gordy and local experts, that's me, of Locked On take you across the SEC in 30 minutes. Make Locked On SEC your second listen. Derek, thank you very much. This will be in handy. We're going to release the interview by itself also on Saturday, so it'll be right there for Sunday for people to watch it as a standalone. So thanks a lot, bud.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.